We got feedback from a retailer around us that sells retail items like this. This is actually a chin pack, a chin roll. So she has difficulty in trying to display her products. And one of the reasons why she has difficulty is because of the way she hangs the product. So we discovered that when she wants to hang the product for display, she's going to tie some sort of rope around it in order to use that extension of the rope to hang the product from the wall. So this is kind of very difficult and it's not too good looking. So when we saw this, we now fabricated something for her because we're able to kind of measure both the size of the product she wants to display. On average, this seems to be the largest product on our shelf in terms of chin and the other things she sells. We discovered the length of the product is actually 3 inches wide, and the breadth is 2 inches wide. So what we did, having gotten this, is to ensure that we try to understand the problem. The problem she was facing is the fact that it takes her time to actually knot this rope for her to display the product. Then also movement of the product when she ties the knot, for her to move the product quickly and easily is not too easy for her, because if it is too tight, it won't be easy for her to move the products within the she wants to use to hang the product. And if it is too wide, the product could fall off easily. What we actually did is we have to analyze the solution, and part of this is what led us into designing this first prototype before we have this finished product. And if you can see, we took into consideration the height and the length of what the product is. So we made this 2 inches wide and the width around 4 inches to ensure that this can even accommodate some bigger products than what she has currently, because who knows when she'll be getting the next product, this could be of a bigger size, and we make it do in such a way that she could hang 2 things at a time simultaneously. So this design is just good looking. It has a curved edge and we have a hole here for her to hang should she want to hang it on the wall. This is going to allow her to easily just take a roll of the product she sells and insert it easily, then just drag it down. As you can see, just take a look at how easy it is compared to the first one I showed you. Then once she has gotten to the halfway of it, then she hangs it like this. Then the other product too can just go in easily, and everything just go all the way to the midpoints. Then the midpoint she hangs it this way. So this is just very good looking. And what are the things that led us into making this design? So when we were doing the design analysis, we discovered that we have 2 different things we can use in order to make this particular model. We could either use 3D printing or we can use laser cutting. So if we want to 3D print this item, this can cost us a lot of time in terms of the time it takes to actually 3D print this as this could take between 30 to 1 hour, if not more, in order for us to get a 3D printed item like this. Then also the cost of doing the 3D printing in terms of the time it will take us. Should we want to maybe manufacture this in 100 pieces, that may not be too kind of feasible for us to do in 3D printing, since we don't have as much as a 3D printing farm. You only have a 3D printer. We also have the choice of using laser cutting. Now, why did we use laser for this? Because laser only takes about 2 or 3 minutes to actually complete this particular product, because all it's doing is just subtracting. It will just subtract parts that we need to put the product. But the 3D printing would be actually laying every part one after the other. So for this, laser cutting is what we use, and that is the best approach for us. So in terms of the material that we want to use, we also have options of using either plywood, which is this particular one we went for, or we use an acrylic sheet, which is the plastic sheet that you can also use. A plastic sheet, a flat sheet that you can use. We don't have to use an acrylic sheet, which is just more of a plastic sheet. It's not more of plastic sheet, flat surface that you can just organize anything you want to design on the laser and ask the laser machine to cut it, or we use the plywood. So in using this is actually more expensive than the plywood. And if the acrylic sheet should fall down, maybe more often it could tend to break. But the plywood is, on the other hand, is a little bit lightweight compared to the acrylic sheet, but it can withstand more impact. So that is why we went for this, because we want something that will be very durable and is not going to be too expensive for retailers to get. So we went with plywood. And also the thickness of the plywood. So how thick should it be? As you can see, we made sure that the width of the width between the 2 holes where she would be inserting those products is actually thick enough, as well as the breadth also is just thick enough to ensure that it wouldn't snap. Because if this were to be very thin, it could snap when she puts a load on it. So we've taken into consideration the weight of this item. If the weight of the item is, if the thickness or the breadth, this particular one, this breadth here is as this thin. So if she should hang a product onto it over time, you just see it breaking, easily. So we don't want this to happen to what because us giving out this is going to mean that we would need a replacement too early, and we are not in to exploit the users of our product. So that's why we made this actually very thick so that it will be able to stand a test of time. So these are some of the things we took into consideration. And as you can see, the final product is actually cool and just good looking. It slides in so easily and out as well. Then once the weight we use the gravity. Gravity will just pull it down, and that would allow it to snap into place. So this is actually good looking. All she needs to do is just hang this on in front of her shop, or perhaps nail it across the board. And this is going to stand the test of time. It can withstand. It's very very rigid and wouldn't break over time. So this is a good thing. That brings us to the end of this particular showcase. This is just a tip of what we've been doing, and we are going to be coming to you subsequently to also showcase more discoveries, more products, more designs, as well as more innovation. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.